Yes, sorry about that. There was a small technical glitch. B plus Anirveda Vedikaku Swagatam. B plus ante be positive. Be positive is the A plus way to be. Na peru Ravi Rayavaram. Thank you for joining and listening. Kindly spread the positivity. Today, Iroju, I thought I will speak to you about a topic that is very close to my heart. It is also contextualized in the current situation in India, where we are witnessing 5 state elections. And as part of these state elections, our conversations have been very interesting, especially conversations of political parties. So it's once again election time in this country, with politics and political discourse at its peak. Now, as I listen to various politicians and political parties, run their campaigns, I cannot help but wonder how fragmented and divided we are as people. Now, as we celebrate the Amrit Mahotsav of India's independence, our political conversations are yet to evolve from those abysmal levels of divisive discourse. Now, we have politicians, and political conversations that represent all hues of divisions based on caste, creed, religion, gender, language, and what have you. Now, criminality in politics never ceases to lose flavor as parties continue to project what I call scums of society as local candidates. Money and corruption always surface with more menacing heads every year. Bribery is also a well-accepted theme and practiced amongst both political parties and people, as parties dole out freebies in exchange for votes. So what is the idea that I'm going to talk about today? It's called the mind that can take a bullet. Now, our nationalistic fervor was at its peak during India's struggle for independence. However, as we became an independent nation and a generation of fighters moved on, the new generation must cultivate the same nationalistic fervor in terms of, in times where we do not face external threats, but a myriad internal threats and divisions. Now, in that sense, to me, nationalism has got redefined. A song that has caught the imagination of the nation and its new generation is a song in Hindi called Teri Mitti. The lyrics of the song and its meanings have touched everyone's heart. Now, let me just, just share the meanings of those lyrics. I'm not going to, sing the lyrics of the song, but just the meaning. It says, "Swords bear memories of our blood. Burning embers remember our burnt flesh. By harvesting our sweat and blood, we were bestowed the saffron crown. Do not mourn, O motherland. For you, I'd bear 100 blows. May your glory stay intact, whether I live or die. My land, my beloved, your love runs in my veins. With every drop of my blood, I ensure your color never fades. To become one with your soil and blossom as a flower in your garden, that's all my heart desires." Well, this is the kind of fervor that we need to look for. I want to draw a parallel with a daily activity that we do, a daily activity of worshipping. Now, we all worship, and there are 3 ways to worship. The first is when we worship and keep asking for many things, right? Health, money, etc. God, give me this. God, give me that. And I will do all this. Now, the second is where we worship to inquire. This is done as a process of inquiry about God. A person is convinced that, God is indeed a reality, and he or she wants to seek and experience God. In this state, where the person and God are still viewed as being different entities, there's a certain rationality to the process. Now, the third is when we worship in a state where we are one with God. Now, this is the most selfless state of worship. Very commonly, as they say, Aham Brahmasmi. Now, here the individual realizes that he or she, as a person, and God are the same. The entities are one and the same and merge with each other. Now, patriotism too has similar parallels. The first kind of patriotism is the one that is transactional. Okay, I expect something from my country and I'm then ready to do my bit. In this case, personal needs of an individual always take precedence over the nation. The second kind of patriotism is the one that a person is mindful about. The person recognizes patriotism as a good virtue and believes in it too. However, there is a sense of rationality in this feeling. Now, the third kind of patriotism is the one that is, in and from the heart. The entities merge. The person starts believing that I am the country. It's a pure emotion from the depths of one's heart. To such a person, the nation comes first. Nothing else matters. Now, such pure love for the country and a mindset that is ever so willing to lay down one's life for the nation and subsume oneself in its form, long after one is gone, is a mindset that is hard to cultivate. Now, the freedom fighters who exemplified this kind of nationalism, to me, are Bhagat Singh, Rajguru, and Sukhdev. Now, Bhagat Singh left home at the age of 15 to fight for his country. When his parents tried to get him married, he had famously said that his bride will only be death in an India that is enslaved. He was hanged to death at a young age of 23. Such was the passion and pride for his country that he put the country before himself and everything else. Now, coming back to our politicians and the political discourse and our potential lawmakers today. Now, as they prepare to represent their people and strive for their upliftment, do they really carry this kind of nationalistic fervor in their hearts? How do we therefore create a shift and bring up a new generation who can grow up with patriotism in their heart, one that's of the third kind? A lot depends on how this new generation is brought up from their younger days. As parents, we usually ask them, what do you want to be when you grow up? Now, this question itself is a perfect setup to think of only oneself or one's own self and not go beyond. But the journey from that point is always about putting oneself at the center of everything. Nothing else matters but one's own growth and achievement. We instead ask our children, how do you want, if we can instead ask our children, how do you want to serve the country when you grow up? Now, this will make them grow up with a sense of purpose towards the nation. Along the way, if they instill in themselves a deep sense of passion to power their dreams in service of this country, then a soldier is born. We will then have people who are not consumed by petty differences, but ones who work selflessly for this country and develop a mind that can take a bullet in service of this nation, even if they are not endowed with a blessing of a uniform. This is what I wanted to share today. Thank you very much for being part of this broadcast. Vijayanna is not here. He's not been able to join. But this has always been a fantastic platform to share great ideas. Please spread the word and